That was not me. Hello, good morning. Buenos dias. Good morning. All right, so here we are, show number 5. Weather's pretty good, all things considered. I did, on the record, ask for biscuits and gravy this morning, but we did get the oatmeal, so thanks for the feedback, everybody. So hopefully that was a really great breakfast. Everybody here knows who I am, Deborah Boughton. I always supposed to introduce myself, so I was making sure I did that. Again, welcome back, everybody. I texted Coach at, what time was it? 6:02? 6:02 this morning. I said, coffee with LC, best day of the month. Yay! And I didn't get much back from her, I'm assuming. There were some other things going on in her head, but she did not text me back, but I felt like she was all in, so that made me feel good. So a couple of things that are going on in the Convocation Center right now. Several of you went over to the Victory Pub on Saturday. Super cool area. It's for all fans, so hopefully you all can go through there. And yes, I heard some chatter about, will there be a new food item every time? And I understand there is. I don't know what it is for this week, but stay tuned. I know we'll put that out there, right there, Jake? We're going to put that out there on the Facebook, so everybody on the Facebook figure that out. Or just show up and have one. So $5, you get a drink and a little item, and it's super great and awesome. I will say this, for anybody that was in Victory Pub this week, or on Saturday, I'm super disappointed that you all did not protect my husband from being selected for the promo. I don't know if you all knew this, but we did the When We Were Pups promo. Yeah. And our marketing, great guy, love him, Anthony, he selected my husband to be the guy who says who the person is. Well, if you all know my husband, although he loves Huskies, it is not so much knowing everything. So if you all remember, he got it wrong. I know, right? And of course, you all didn't help him. You didn't cheer. You didn't give him the right name. You didn't help him at all. And so he texted me during the game. He says, we're going to have to do something nice for Grace because I totally messed that up. So, but I count that on you all for not helping him. And Anthony for choosing him. It was Anthony's fault. You're right. So take a look. Try out Victory Pub. Invite your friends. I think it's a cool space for our fans. So we have basketball tonight, men's basketball tonight, women's basketball tomorrow night, wrestling, gymnastics, Beating the Beast on Friday night. So that's a super cool event. So they wrestle at the same time they do the beam and jump, and it's really confusing but super fun. And the pub's going to be open that night too. So take a look. I might be there. And if you all are there, I will buy you a $2 beer. A couple other things we have coming up. So Power the Pack. So Coach Sutt is here. She does a great job mobilizing our women's sports programs to do this annual women's sports clinic for youth. There's a flyer on your little table there if you have some grandkids or friends. So they get to come to the clinic, participate in all kinds of sports, and then if they'd like, they get a free ticket to the basketball game, and then guests are $4. So that's been a pretty popular event, so hopefully we get that out there and get some kids at our games. The golfing is out there. Save the date on June 19th. That's the Friday before Father's Day, so buy that for your dad. I'm going to. And then you all might have noticed we're doing our faculty staff spotlight that we do every game. We are honoring folks within our history of 125 years. This year is the 125th anniversary of NIU. So we're honoring folks on game day that have done things for NIU, whether faculty or staff. And there's a surprise honoree for Wednesday. She's in this room. I'm not going to tell you who it is. You'll have to be there to see it. But it's going to be super special, so I'm looking forward to it. And so we're going to do that every game. Last game we recognized Dr. Lois Self, if anybody remembers her. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to make the game, but that was okay. We honored her anyway, and it was fantastic. And a lot of people cheered, and it was wonderful. So congratulations, Lois. And again, so it's every game we're going to honor a different person. So it's possible you know these folks from back history of NIU, so that's pretty neat. Okay, so that is my part. Unfortunately, it seems so small these days. I like being up here. All right, I'll introduce the guest of the hour who's going to tell you all about the fabulous what's going on with women's basketball. Thank you.
I hate to chase her off the stage. I know how much she loves the microphone. I would also like to welcome everybody back to our 5th Coffee with Carlson, January edition. And obviously thank our special guests that are here today. I think that this lineup is going to be a great group of people to hear from. So I get the opportunity to talk a little bit about basketball, which is great. Let me start with, we're coming off of a fall semester, and really for the last month, our players haven't been in class. But if you look at our fall semester accolades in the classroom, they are probably among our top numbers in a very long time. Our fall team GPA was a 3.5, which is pretty amazing. And we had 3 different 4.0s. Actually, one of them is here today, Nini Salmi. Allie Mae and Grace Hunter were also 3.0s, or 4.0s. But 10 of our 16 student athletes had a 3.8 or better. So, and if you look through the list of on our roster of 16 different student athletes, there's majors that cover pretty much every discipline. And so for them to be as diligent in the classroom as they are and understand and prioritize how important academics are, I think obviously the numbers speak for themselves in those situations in the fall. And so I'm really proud of them for what they do in the classroom. Everybody went back to class yesterday, so again, it puts us in a little bit of a sense of normalcy when it comes to where does practice fit in, how do they structure their day around classes, because it's been quite some time before we've been in classes, and it also has a completely different feel on campus. You know, sometimes as basketball players especially, from the middle of December until the middle of January, you feel like you have the run of the place. There's not a lot of people around, and it's really us and some of the other student athletes that are around practicing a lot. Sometimes the kids don't really love that because there's much less restrictions on us from a coaching standpoint as the number of hours that we essentially get access to them. So secretively, I'm sure student athletes are happy when school starts again because they have other things to occupy their time besides coaches in their ear 24/7 on the basketball court. Another thing that happened very shortly after our last Coffee with Carlson is we had the opportunity to host the Compass Challenge. And we've talked about that in the last couple of years and how unique and special that event is. You know, there was about 3 years ago, we really started talking about how much sense it makes for Northern, Eastern, Southern, and Western to get together and play and make it an event. A lot of times we were playing those teams anyway in the non-conference. So to really put it together with a trophy and with all tournament teams, I thought the crowd's support, obviously hosting it from you all, but also the fans that Western and Eastern and Southern brought too, it was pretty fun. And so I'm happy that event will continue and it will continue to rotate because I do think it adds a really nice dynamic to our non-conference schedule. During that time, I think it was in the Southern game, you know, Courtney was able to break the 3-point career record. And if you really think about how big a deal that is, it's pretty amazing with the history and the shooters, essentially, that have come through this institution. So it's a great honor for her. Obviously, it's early in the season, so that number will continue to grow. And then we were able to honor her before the Toledo game for that achievement. The ball that we gave her is blank, which is great. So at the end of her career, we'll be able to put that final number on it. Traditionally, over the holiday also, our Christmas party that we have with the team takes place at my place when they get back after Christmas. And it happened to be the Saturday night before the Drake game. And one of the things that we've done the last couple years is we've had a class-specific cookie decorating contest. So I get to get this year, and my kitchen takes a beating, which is fine. I don't spend a lot of time there, but it does take a beating. So this year I decided I'm going to make the cookie dough in advance and not have them do it from scratch. I use that loosely. Just because it's amazing how many people really don't know how to even crack an egg. So I thought we'll just stop that part of it, and I will just give them the dough, which was a very good decision on my part. So our freshmen started, and I thought we didn't do a very good job of preparing them, because if you say we're going to make cookies, most of us, we have cookie dough, we have cookie cutters, we have frosting and decorations, so you make Christmas cookies, right? You cut out Christmas trees, you cut out snowmen, whatever, you decorate them, and it's fine. Well, the upperclassmen understand that creativity is a huge part of the competition, and they didn't share that with the freshmen. So unfortunately, I think we kind of put them in a bad position. So our freshmen made very nice traditional Christmas cookies. Well, then came the sophomore class, and they decided their theme was going to be emojis. So they made a lot of circles, but they also made, as many of you have seen, the pile of poop emoji. Well, when you put a lot of food coloring together to get brown, it takes a lot of food coloring. So that it was pretty extensive in their preparation of emojis, but they probably had 10 to 15 different emojis that they decorated, which was unique, and it didn't win, but it was nice. The juniors decided to go about their business with a Star Wars theme. So they made a little Yoda, they made this spaceship, and they put the pieces together. Again, timing-wise, very creative, and did a really nice job. The seniors, on the other hand, decided to make a basketball snowman, and it was big. It was like at least 8 by 11, and it had basketballs as the pieces of the snowman with a scarf. And they were very efficient, as you can well imagine. It took our sophomores, I think, a couple hours to finish their project, where it took the seniors needing probably 20 minutes. So they were the seasoned veterans for sure. We get to vote as a staff, and we did vote the seniors as the winners, which upset some people, but I think it was the right pick. I think they also do a gift exchange. The gift of choice this year seemed to be socks, which is interesting. But it's always one of those events that we have a great time. You know, they've had probably 4 or 5 days to spend with their families, and then we get the opportunity to come back and spend a little time, especially at that event, with our basketball family. So it's a lot of fun. Then the next day we played Drake. You know, I talked a little bit, many of you I see at Six Man Grill, I talked a little bit about Drake and how strong that program is from a mid-major standpoint. And I think obviously they displayed that when we got the opportunity to play. They're a little unique in what they do as far as defensively, really trying to throw you off balance on the offensive end with a matchup zone flying around. And there was some things that we did in that game that I thought were positive. But again, a really good Drake team, again, in hopes of preparing us for league play. Since we've been together, we've had 3 league games. We got the privilege to start at Ohio. Ohio is picked first in the league. They are picked by most to win it outright and also win the tournament. And believe it or not, again, there was some things that we did much better in the Ohio game. The one thing we didn't do a good job of is taking care of the basketball. And so the opportunities that they had, because we gave chances away, were just a little bit too much for us to overcome. We also, unfortunately, had to play without Grace, as she hurt her ankle a couple days before that. And right now, you know, arguably our most consistent player. So that was unfortunate. But at the same time, you know, Gabby was in a situation where she really stepped up and played well for us. I think she led us with 16. And Shelby, again, was in double figures. So there was some positives that came out of the Ohio game. Because we're not in school at that time, and this happens every so often when we play our first 2 league games on the road, we actually stayed in Ohio the whole time. So we left on a Friday, played Ohio on Saturday, stayed in Athens, and then went to Miami on Sunday and practiced there for 3 days in preparation for the Miami game. Again, sometimes it's a unique and fun opportunity to really spend a lot of time together as a team. Luckily, they all like each other, and so they didn't kill each other, which is great. But again, it's a chance to just get away from campus. They're not necessarily having to do homework, and so they get to spend a lot of time together. And I think that's a lot of fun, again, in that unique situation. Those of you who watched the Miami game, arguably maybe our best 36 minutes of the year as far as the efficiency that we had scoring the basketball. Again, turnovers, unfortunately, are essentially what cost us the ball game and also what plagued us during the course of the ball game. But when I go back and evaluate how we played against Miami, we had definitely taken a step in the right direction. And like we had hoped, and like what we continue to hope, Courtney and Maya were in double figures and played pretty well in that ball game. Then we came back to the Toledo game, and again, my expectation for this team hasn't changed than I had to start the year. I don't think that their expectations have changed. Things continue to challenge us, obviously, and it's my job to figure out how we need to adjust and handle the challenges that are thrown our way. I thought in the Toledo game, especially in the first half, although it wasn't a great half of basketball, there was good energy, there was good fight both ways. Anytime you play Toledo, it's going to be a little messy. You know, they hang their hat on really getting after it on the defensive end. I thought we handled their pressure pretty well in the first half. What we didn't handle in the second half, and again, this is my fault, maybe not getting them ready in the locker room at halftime, is our mentality on going about our business in the second half, especially without Allie. You know, this team has dealt with a lot at times as far as injuries are concerned, and for the most part, we've handled it as well as can be expected at times. But I really thought that we didn't handle not having Allie in the second half, and it really made us hesitant. I don't think we played as hard as we needed to. I think it was a distraction for some of our players. And again, that's my fault, and I've got to do a better job of making sure that we understand how important it is that we have to go about our business with whoever is available. The thing about losing Allie in the second half, obviously she had played well in the first half. We'd have loved to have her on the floor, but she's also a very vocal presence for us in her leadership and her captain status and all of those things. And instead of us rising or elevating our level, I think we missed that and we let that affect us. So it wasn't a great half of basketball. You know, Grace did lead us with 11. One positive that I definitely see is the growth in our freshmen. And I have challenged our upperclassmen, to be honest with you, on what they're going to do as far as leaving a little bit of their legacy in this senior season. I can tell you it's a group that has put in a tremendous amount of work. And I think that's the disheartening part, is it's not because they're not working at it, but we have to have results to show for it. That's the name of the game, and again, they understand that. We do get an opportunity to jump on the court again at home tomorrow night against a very good Kent State team. Another thing about the MAC, and it has definitely played out already in the first 3 games, is any given night. You know, there's been some great wins. There's been some expected wins, some interesting losses. But the parity is definitely there. And I expected to see that, and that's definitely what's played out. So Kent will be in town tomorrow night, and we look forward to jumping back on the floor. I think it's been a good couple days in preparation for that. Before we get an opportunity to get back together, we also have a home game a week from tomorrow, again against the Ohio Bobcats, which I am excited to get back on the floor against them and see what kind of adjustments we've been able to make. And then we also play a home game against Buffalo on February 1st, which is before we get back together. That game, again, will be a doubleheader with the men, much like last Saturday, but it will be a little bit earlier. I believe it's a noon start for us, because I think the guys' game is picked up in a different platform on the TV. So I will remind you of those things. You'll get plenty of notification, but just try and keep in mind that will be a noon start on February 1st. I talked a little bit about Allie. You know, I always give you a little bit of an injury update, and I love when it doesn't have anything written there, but unfortunately, she did hurt her ankle. She's going to be day-to-day. I would highly doubt that we will see her this week, but hopeful that it won't be more than a couple weeks. You know, she's somebody that will, on a pretty much hour-to-hour basis, do what she needs to do to find a way back on the court. So I know that our training staff will take good care of her, and she will be diligent in her rehab. So we hope to get her back as soon as possible. Paulina also is not going to necessarily be with us the rest of the year. She has a back issue that right now she really needs some intense rehab with. And so we've had a conversation that it's going to be in her best interest to really kind of step away from the court a little bit and concentrate on rehabbing that piece of it in order to prepare for what will be her senior season. So you'll see her on the bench, probably our most vocal and positive kid, which I absolutely love about her, and a critical part to what we do. It just won't be in uniform the rest of the season. So that's what I have for you from an injury standpoint. Before I turn the mic over to Nini, does anybody have any questions for me? Nope? Good. Okay. I do want to thank everybody for being here this morning. You know, I'm well aware that it's been a little bit of a rough start and a rough season, but I can tell you that this group will continue to fight. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they said every year when something has presented itself in an adverse way, this group has found a way to rally in some way, shape, or form. Someone has elevated their game. We've figured out different ways to put the kids in situations to be successful. And I'm absolutely positive that that will happen again. There's a lot of basketball left to be played. And the nice part is we have the pieces that it takes. That's why the season is what it is, non-conference, conference, and then luckily everyone has a chance to compete in the conference tournament. So as we haven't necessarily done what we had hoped at this point, the expectation is still that we make a late run, and I think that will happen. All right, my guest this morning is Nini Salmi, a graduate student from Finland by way of San Francisco, and she's going to tell you a little bit about that story, which is unique in nature, and we're excited to have her. So Nini, come on up.
To adjust this. Okay. Hello. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you guys here. This is my first time at Coffee with Carlson, which was for me actually tea with Carlson. So, as Coach just said, I transferred here from San Francisco, and the question that I get the most is, how did you end up in DeKalb when you went to school in California? And so I decided to kind of talk about that a little bit today. So let's start from the beginning. The reason I play college basketball is because my mother played college volleyball for BYU. She was the National Player of the Year in 1986, and that just kind of, and went on to play professionally in Europe. So as I was growing up, I think I was about 4 or 5 when my mom quit volleyball. So I remember, one of my earliest memories is going to her games. I don't remember much from those games, but I remember going. And so I just had the idea from a young age that going to college to play sports, even though it's, across the pond, and playing professionally after is just something that you do, which I was informed on, as a first grader or something, that's not actually a very common path to take, especially for women. But I already had that in the back of my mind, so, here we are. I went to a sports academy high school back in Finland because we don't have high school sports like the US does. So basically you have to go to a specific high school that has that opportunity to practice. And obviously if you into band or whatever, they got high schools for that too. But I went to a sports academy one, played for the junior national team or teams, and that's kind of how I got recruited. That's kind of how I got noticed, and ended up in San Francisco. My freshman year there, I had a pretty devastating back injury that took about 4 or 5 months to rehab, and that gave me that extra year. That's the reason I'm here for 2 years as a grad transfer, because I got a redshirt year there, and I was able to finish my undergrad in 3 years instead of 4. In retrospect, that back injury was, I would say, a blessing in disguise, because on top of all the mental growth and growth as a person that it gave me, it also gave me that extra academic year, and I was able to sort things out, and I'm able to finish my college career with the master's degree. So that's nice. We had a coaching change at USF. It was actually my second year, and I did play 2 years for the new coach, but as they got their recruiting ties and whatnot going, I was informed that they would want to go forward with their own recruits, and that's that. Like there's no drama or anything. But I decided to transfer, and I kind of got into the process, got my release and whatnot, and I actually hosted my current teammate Gabby Nikitinaiti at her visit for San Francisco when I was still there. So that is the main reason how I got in touch with NIU. And it's funny, so first of all, clearly Gabby picked NIU over USF, so there must be something here that was better, because I thought I did a great job hosting her, but apparently not. So that was one thing. And then they had the program that I wanted to study. I came on my visit, and I came on my visit with the mindset that, okay, they have a very decent mid-major program, like just the level I'm looking for, and they have what I want to study. Now I just need to figure out if the girls are nice. And I came on my visit, and honestly, everyone, like including Gabby, but not just her, everyone just welcomed me with open arms and were really nice. And I just felt like I was on my visit, but I felt like I was already part of the team. Like I fit in right away. So it was not a hard decision to come here. And so that's also something that I think, no matter what the record shows and no matter how our season has been, those things like the culture, the work ethic, and just like the team bonding and the team spirit that we have are things that carry us, and are things that, even after my 5 years, which feels like a long time now, but I'm sure it won't in a couple of years, something that even after my 5 years, I will remember and cherish. And I think that's the reason why, I know everyone in our circle and everyone who's a part of the team believes that we're able to turn it around. And it's just, like, that's just how it is. Like, it's been rough thus far, but I think those things, like, we got a great culture going, and we got a belief from within that it's going to change. That's pretty much all I got. Do I take the questions, or what's going on? Oh, one more thing. I know how to crack an egg. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Oh, there's a question. Yeah.
I noticed on Saturday you were speaking with one of the players from the opposing team.
Yeah.
From Finland.
Yeah, Sarah Rokanen. We went to high school together. We played on the junior national team together. I think we also played against each other at some point. This summer, I was with the senior national team preparing for the University Olympics, and she was also there. Yeah, so we go back a long time. That's why. And also, it's just nice to have someone to speak your native language to every once in a while.
When you're not upset or cussing or whatever.
Yeah, that's a different story. Yeah.
What is your major?
Sport management. My undergrad is in international studies. Was there one more, or was that it? Okay. Anyone else? All right, thank you. Go Huskies.
We love our international kids. Now I would like to introduce Coach Adrian Meyer in his 5th season, I believe. Is that right, Adrian? With Husky track and cross country. A native of Oregon, Illinois, right down the street, which is awesome, and an All-American at Lewis University, which is near and dear to my heart. So Adrian's going to talk a little bit about our track program and also introduce his special guests. Coach?
Good morning. It's always awesome to be here, and I instructed them to make the coffee just right for you guys this morning, so I hope you enjoyed it. So I'm covering for Coach T-Berry, so you get the better-looking member of our staff up here talking cross-country and track. So we're 3 sports. At the end of the day, we go cross, indoors, and outdoors. So we're a fall sport, winter sport, spring sport. So I'm going to talk a lot here, and I got a lot of notes here. This last fall, we wrapped up a very successful season. We came up 2 points short of a MAC title. And in when I came here, I told Mr. Frazier that in 5 years we could win a MAC title. which at the time they were kind of like, hey, take your time, take your time. The program, 20 years, averaged 11th place out of 12 teams in the MAC. They said, hold your horses. This was my 5th year, and we came up 2 points short. So that was we came as close as you possibly could. And the interesting part of it, our sport's very interesting, in that we beat Eastern Michigan heads up, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. It was other teams that offset our scores, 3 points total, putting us behind 2. So we had the best team in the MAC, but the way the game's played does not reflect that, and that's just what it is. That's why we show up, and that's why you do it, and that's what makes sports interesting. And that's what also makes us grow through sports. Is sometimes we got to take a 2-point loss to figure out how to find that 2 points every single day. And that's kind of been our motto now going forward, is find 2 points. Everyone can find 2 points every single day, whether it's getting to bed, hydrating, eating food, the right foods, all those sort of things throughout the year. Is everything now is find 2 points. And at the time, it was very devastating. We had a 5th-year senior. We had people that I got to stick around here for 5 years and say, we're gonna win this thing. The people that were here when I first came here, on that belief. And when I woke up that morning, I had no doubt in my heart that we would win a MAC title that day. And again, that's just how it happens. But the one thing with that is it's the best thing I think could have happened for our program moving forward. Right now, there's a hunger, there's a desire to never feel that again. That even though we've made progress, we've never, we've always done well, and we've battled and we've fought consistently in competition. But this is the first time that, in the most endearing way possible, there's a dog in the room every single day as far as training and putting all the work in and doing everything. Every single thing. It's hard to get 17 to 21, 22-year-olds to commit to in our sport, which is literally all conditioning. It's the hard stuff all day, 2 hours, 3 hours every single day. To get them to do that, then go to bed, drink a ton of water, only eat good food, make good social decisions, because it'll directly affect whether they like it or not. It will directly affect performance. That's very hard to do. And to do that while also maintaining, Ashley was in the meeting the other day. We set an academic goal of always being above a 3.5 GPA, and we've always been 3.7 and above. This year we were down just a little bit. We were just about 3.4, which, for us, it's still very good, so I couldn't necessarily be disappointed. But the fact that they can do that and compete at the level they do and run 70 miles a week and lift 3 times a week and do all these other things all year, no off season, even the summertime. They go home in the summer, they're training out for cross country. So it's just nonstop. The rigors of our sport are very demanding. So my hat's off to the buy-in process that I've received as a coach here. It's hard to turn a culture around. It's surrounded. It all has to do with conditioning and hard work, and to turn that around like we did, and most of it was getting the right people in here. We coached up who we had when we came in, because I'm under the belief that when you come into a program, those are now your athletes. It's not, I'm going to wait till my athletes come in. Those are now your athletes. Those are now your kids to take care of. And we move the needle a little bit, but we bring in that next generation that's brought us to the next level. But just a quick synopsis on the season. We won every meet. Prior to getting here, we'd won 1 meet in the program's history, and that was my second year here. We won the Illinois State Invitational. We swept the Western Illinois Leatherneck Invite to start the season. I think we went 1 through 7. Then we hosted the NIU Challenge, which is in our second year running it. We had 13 teams, 10 Division I, including number 1 preseason Toledo, which was nice to have them come to our place as our home meet and put them on it, put them on it, or put it on them pretty good in the first meet. So that was a good momentum swing for our program moving forward this fall, and we hope to grow that meet gradually over the coming years. We went from there and went to Loyola's Lakefront Invitational, which is in the 42nd running of the event. It's a historical event right on the lakeshore there. We went there and beat Loyola, who swept the Missouri Valley Championship. So they went 1 through 5, and I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 at the Missouri Valley. So we were able to beat them on their home course at a very prestigious meet. This is the first year I've taken a team to the pre-national championships, which you see 20 to 25 of the top 30 teams in the country, plus only teams that are ranked in the top 12 of their region get invited to that meet. We were able to beat Georgia, who was nationally ranked at the start of the year. We were able to beat Virginia, who was nationally ranked at the start of the year, plus all of the MAC programs, which includes Eastern Michigan, who was nationally ranked at the start of the year. So we had a very good showing there at a highly, highly competitive meet. A couple last pieces on the MAC meet. We had our first individual champion, Ashley Tutt, who's in here. Our previous highest placer was Kelsey Hildreth, my first year, who was second. Interesting fact, Mackenzie Callahan, who was our second best runner, she was third in the race. So we had our highest and third highest placing MAC individual finisher ever in the championships. And a couple other pieces of history. Ashley and Erica Hibzer on our team became the first two athletes to become 3-time All-MAC in our program's history. And barring any serious injuries or anything like that, Ashley will hopefully next year become, not only a one-time champion, but a 2-time champion, and then additionally a 4-time All-MAC athlete. Be the first one in our program's history. At regionals, we finished 9th, which tied our highest finish ever for my second year here, where we finished 9th. Little silver linings, though. We were our number 2 was top 15 with 1K to go. And sometimes it just plays out this way. If anybody's ever overexerted themselves and you kind of crash and burn a little bit. We were sitting in the top 6 of our region with 1 kilometer to go. Mackenzie Callahan just fell off a little bit over the last K and fell back, but was very courageous in her efforts that day. We'd have been roughly 2 spots out of qualifying for the national championships if she'd have just held on there. And it's one of those things. It's one of those moments, teachable moments with an athlete that I think she knew the weight of the situation and knew where we were at that point in time, but also understanding the value and consistency in life. This is somebody that shows up for us every single day and gets it done. And sometimes we fall short. The difference is picking yourself up. That was the one thing I told her was, I think she thought that everyone was going to look at her. But the thing is how often, she's the one that's led us. She was our MVP actually of our program a couple years ago, is now a junior. So, she'll be back along with Ashley leading the charge for our program, moving the needle forward. And I'm very, very excited about that. We hope in the next 2 years to kind of stick to the plan. I said 5 years we could win a MAC title. It was a coin flip, close enough. And in 2 more years, the ambition is to qualify for the national championships. We think we're putting the pieces in place to do that. And we're at least on the right trajectory. I would say every other year, a MAC championship team is usually going to qualify for the national championships. The MAC's very deep in cross country. As far as track, I want to give you a little quick lead into things. We've had 2 meets so far. We returned 4 national qualifiers. We finished in the middle of the MAC last year with predominantly freshmen and sophomores. What was that in itself is, they say like kissing your sister. It's kind of it was good, but we wanted more. So the thing is with that, we come into the year with preseason number 2. Number 2, we had one vote for a championship. So 1 team in the conference picked us to win the MAC this year indoors, and we're even stronger outdoors just because the event layout changes. So there's the 10,000 meters, there's the steeple, and those are events we're very strong in this year and hope to add a lot of points that way. So middle of the pack last year, top of the pack this year, that was kind of our ambition from the beginning. A lot of things have to transpire in a certain way for that to come together, but we feel very confident in that. We returned Giovanna, who's a 2-time All-American for us. I think right now she's at like 4 or 5 MAC titles, so very consistent, championship caliber athlete, always comes through when we need her. We opened up at Purdue, ran a MAC leading 4x4 relay. Phil Walbrink, our sprint coach, has done a phenomenal job at developing that crew. In the time that they ran at that meet to open the season, won them a MAC title his first year here in the 4x4. So to open up that is awesome. And when you got good relays, that's going to trickle into other events. So that's a good thing. At Iowa this last weekend, we had several MAC leaders and a lot of second-ranked performances from the meet. We also opened up the season. Ashley continued after the national championships, which I left that part out. She qualified for the national championships out of the regional, became our second athlete to do that. Finished 50th, just out of All-American, top 40 or All-American in the NCAA. And you know, for her, kind of typical to Ashley, she's always going to fight. She's never going to give up. She went down in the race at about 2K. It was a pretty mucky course at the time. Got back up, battled her way into that top 40, top 50 again. And at that level, it's hard to do that, and because everyone's good. Everyone's a thoroughbred at that level. So to do that was awesome. You know, we talked about continuing to train for 2 more weeks after that, try to get one of her MAC marks out of the way. She broke the school record in 3,000 meters, running 9:28, which is 200 meters short of 2 miles. So ran 9:28 indoors to open up the season and smashed a school record. So she'll race again in, you know, a week or so for the indoor season. Key returners, Giovanni White, like I said, multiple-time All-American. Taylor Tillman, freshman of the year. Diamond Riley, freshman of the year. Ashley Tutt, freshman of the year. That goes to show what our recruiting classes have looked like the last few years. We have 3 freshmen of the years returning on this year. They're carrying a lot of weight for us. Taylor Ramsey, Erica Hibser, Mackenzie Callahan, Remy Armatifio, and Nishay Curtis. These are all people who have scored tons of points for us as Huskies. And they're going to definitely lead us into the MAC charge this year. Couple newcomers, Tristan Allen from Sam Houston State, who's a national qualifier, transferred in the triple jump, and Dalen Schweitzer, who's one of the best athletes to ever come out of the state of Illinois, multi-athlete in the hurdles, high jump, won multiple state titles out of Class A. She's going to be very good for us. May 8th, we're hosting a small tune-up meet before the MAC championships here at NIU. It's that way. You know, it's usually fairly small. It provides us opportunity to run some of our athletes in off distances, just kind of tune up for the championships. We'd love to have you guys out there. There's no charge, just show up. I'll leave it there. So I'm going to bring up Miss Ashley Tutt for a few minutes. You can come up here, Ashley. This year alone, 2019 alone, she was 5-time MAC Athlete of the Week, which was pretty incredible. It was every single week, which was kind of fun. She's going to be a quick scoop on her last spring, which she actually redshirted last spring with an injury. Kind of what the summer looked like. We spent a lot of time together, working. Probably didn't know you could work that hard not running. And then what led her to an amazing fall. You know, she didn't get to even run last spring. So, you know, roughly 4 or 5 months without running. And our sport is hard to come back from as quick as she did. But that's a testament to where her eyes always were, and that was on the prize this season. And then just kind of what she hopes to do this spring. So, again, I thank you guys. This is awesome to have this kind of turnout and have people in our community supporting our sports and our women's sports here at NIU, because we have an amazing product here across the board. So we appreciate you guys, and go Huskies. Thank you.
Thank you for having me again. And like Coach said, it all started out last indoor season. I redshirted indoor and outdoor because I had an Achilles injury. You know, it was really hard. Like I said, I couldn't run for a few months. We cross-trained in July, lifted every day, cross-trained for swimming for hours. So it was really hard, but met a lot with Coach, you know, having the big picture in mind. He brought me in here knowing that in 5 years we wanted to win a MAC title as a team, so that was just my goal along just getting better for the team. So then as the season progressed, you know, all the girls helped me a lot, kept me positive. In the summer, I was here all summer, just training with Coach and getting better with each week. You know, pain went away and was able to run more and see some progress. And eventually just being on campus with the team just helped so much. You know, we all came together this year a lot more and rallied around each other, I think. So I think that was one of the decisive moments in how good we performed this season, because we all just worked so well together. We all ran against each other in high school, actually. Mackenzie and I are on the same high school team. So just being able to work with her every day still is really nice. And just, working together is nice. We won a lot of meets, like Coach had said, so it really built momentum into the year. And I think it just made us realize how good of a team we finally are. And how I know we came up short of the MAC title by 2 points, but I think we're all still really happy with the progress we've made and knowing that we can get there soon. But looking forward to spring, I think we're all coming in hungry. Every day at practice, if one of us is having a hard day, we'll look at each other and just say, just remember Mac, like we want those 2 points. So I think really want to win indoor and outdoor Mac's our goal, and just score as many points as we can in the distance events, because we're bringing back a lot of good runners and key returners. So that's the goal, and try and get a lot of people to the NCAA regional meet, which I think is the even bigger goal. But just focusing on getting as better as we can get in the track season and carrying that over to the summer and cross country. So we're looking forward to. And thank you for having me again, and go Huskies.
All right, that was awesome. Oh my gosh. Thanks, Tut. I've been talking about you for like 4 months, so I'm super happy you were able to come today. And, you know, when we talked about Coffee with Carlson in the beginning of the season, we were like, hey, how do we make this different? How do we spice it up a little bit? And that was one of the ideas we had. Come up here, Tut, help me with this. Was bringing in student athletes from other sports. Again, we have an amazing product, like Adrian mentioned, across the board, and amazing kids. I mean, I don't know about you, but at 20 years old, could you come up here and do this? Last year, I couldn't even do this very well, right? I mean, so amazing kids, and they came up here and did this without any notes. I mean, coach is sitting here with notes. He can't even do it. I know I can't. So really just a testament to our coaches bringing in quality kids, and really them doing the work. I think it's amazing. So, all right, we're going to do a little raffle. We got stuff back there, right, Quinn? We're good to go? All right. You guys pull them out. Yep. All right. You can thank Tut for this one, 955-970. 970. Donna Martin, of course. That makes sense. All right. All right. 955-961. 961. Chuck Shepard in the house. Right. Thinking those pint glasses for the pub back there. 955-977. Joni, good stuff. I wonder if we kept track. Does she win every week? Does she win all the time? Okay. 955-966. Yes, ma'am. Pub glasses back there. All right, 955-982. Yes, sir, Bob Ike. He didn't get biscuits and gravy, but he won the raffle. All right, that's it, ladies. We just do 5. Starting 5. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so wrapping up. Raffle, 5 winners did that. There you go, Bob. Oh, my. So our next Coffee with Carlson is in February. Coach Sut, although she shows up every month, she actually will speak to us next month. Perhaps we'll bring a softball student athlete too, maybe? Yeah. So we'll see you, well, tomorrow night, Friday night. I don't know. We're always around. So if there's anything I can do to help make things better, let me know, besides winning some basketball games. I'm sure we'll do that soon. Thanks, everybody. Go Huskies.